Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to a new segment on this channel called Gear with Beer, where we talk about adventure motorcycles, the gear that we use, all while enjoying a beer. Today's episode, we're talking about toolkits. We'll talk to you about why they are important and why you need to bring one on every one of your trips. Today's beer is a Rupture Fresh Grind IPA from Odell Brewing Company out of Fort Collins, Colorado. I personally like hoppy beers like an IPA, and they're really refreshing to me, and really what better way to discuss gear than over a fresh beer. Now for me, toolkits are super important. I use this Climb toolkit. It actually came with a vest that I ordered a couple years ago, and it's been a really durable toolkit. There's no this thing has gone thousands of miles with me and it's not torn up or anything like that. So I've been really happy with it. But let's get into this toolkit. So tools are super important because it can either make or break your trip. If you are out in the middle of nowhere and you have a breakdown or even just something minor and you don't have the tools to fix it, it can literally ruin you or your riding buddy's trip if you're with somebody, which you should be. So in my toolkit, I carry the essentials for my bike. And now that means with my toolkit, I can pretty much do anything to the bike on the side of the road. So what I carry is tire irons. I carry this Tusk 3-way little wrench, screwdriver with bits in it, a pair of vice grips. Now, these are expensive, but they are literally worth their weight. So, Motion Pro makes these titanium wrenches, and what's nice about them is that they weigh literally nothing. Like, all four of these weigh less than what this T-handle does. So, I carry a 14 millimeter, a 12 millimeter, a 10, and an 8. Now with all of these, that pretty much covers every bolt on the bike except for the axle shafts and stuff like that for changing tires. Speaking of that, with the tire irons, I've got the 27 and a 22 on here for changing front and rear tire. And I always like to have a third. It just makes things way easier. I carry this other wrench. It's a 10 and a 13 just for backup. Basically, if I need to break something free, I have a backing wrench. I carry this little cute tiny crescent wrench. It's adjustable, obviously, right? And it can get into places that other wrenches can't get into, especially if you're trying to hold the back of a bolt or something. Super handy. With the vice grips, what's nice about these is that not only can you get a good grip on something, but say you break a brake lever or a shift lever, foot lever that is, you can clamp this on to the shaft and actually use this to get you out of a tight spot. So done that before, it's been a huge help. Other things I carry is a set of Allen wrenches. So the Allen wrenches are, I carry a 4, 5, 6, and an 8, and that pretty much, again, covers everything on the bike that that Honda uses on their motorcycles, at least the Honda Africa Twin. And all of this stuff is for the Honda Africa Twin. I don't carry an array of tools to cover my bike and other people's bikes, although there has been times where luckily I have a toolkit and my riding buddy didn't, or he didn't have the tool that he needed, and luckily I had it. So, we were able to get out of that spot or whatever the problem was. So I try to carry as minimal tools as possible, but at the same time, carry something that's going to be common, not only on your bike, but maybe your riding buddy's bike. I carry the spark plug wrench. I'll just leave that in the toolkit. This is a little tiny ratchet, and that has actually came in super handy. I don't like carrying the big full-size ratchets because the weight. This is a cheap ratchet that came with some, I don't know, maybe like IKEA kit or something, but it's actually pretty durable, and I've used it quite a bit as a ratchet. I also carry zip ties, which are super important. You can fix just about anything with that, and duct tape, which I take Gorilla Tape and wrap it around my tire iron, so that makes easy carry of that, and it also, you don't have to carry the big roll. Take a little swig here. Moving on to what's in here. This is kind of my knickknacks and my little stuff that I carry with me. I carry some electrical fuses and some shrink solder kits. Let's talk about those really quick because these are really, really nifty. These are amazing. So you put one wire in one end, one wire in the other, you heat it up with a lighter, and there's a little piece of solder inside there. And what it does is it makes a extremely strong waterproof bond. So no twisting, no taping, none of that. It's basically a shrink wrap wire splice, and it's freaking amazing. So if you don't have these, I'll leave links to all of this stuff down below in the description, but definitely check out those. They are pretty awesome for wire stuff. Okay, so like I said, I got my wire stuff here. I carry a little roll of electric tape. I carry some carabiners, which are super nice for, you know, if you had for whatever reason, if you had to tow a vehicle or just hanging things up at camp, stuff like that. Here is the little adapter that I use for my socket here, my ratchet. This little ratchet with this adapter on, I can put all of these 1/4" drive sockets on, so that really helps speed things up when you're on the side of the road or the trail. I carry Loctite, blue Loctite. It's super important. These bikes rattle around like crazy, and you know, that can definitely keep bolts from coming loose if you have to replace any. Another thing I carry is just this right here, just a little pack of random nuts and bolts and washers, just because you never know if you do lose something, how handy that would come in to have if, you know, you needed to fasten something. I carry a couple of cotter pins just in case. Like I said, I don't use much cotter pins on my bike, but my buddy might, and if that gets us out of where we want to be and continue on our way. Next thing I carry is a couple of well nuts that go into my windshield. If you're a Honda Africa Twin owner and you've ever replaced your windshield or knocked that thing off, you know how much of a pain in the ass these things can be if you shove it down inside the fairing. So I carry a couple of those, and I also carry some of the 3M really heavy duty Velcro. And what's good about this stuff is that you know, if you have attachments to your helmet for like your comms unit or anything like that, you can literally, I mean, these will hold several pounds, so it's a nice little thing to carry as well. And then I also carry some stainless steel wire for safety wire and a measuring tape. Now, the reason I carry a measuring tape, the main reason is for setting sag and stuff like that. If your loads change quite a bit and you're doing some off-roading and you know your suspension's acting all funny, you know, you can change your suspension settings, and that gives you a precise measurement. That is this main toolkit that I carry, and I carry this set of tools on every single trip. If I'm going for a day ride or if I'm going on, you know, a multi-day, multi-week trip, this is everything that I carry. Including with that, I carry a spare tube or two, depending on where I'm going. I have the Honda Africa Twin has a 21-inch wheel and an 18-inch wheel, and this is a 21-inch tube. You can, in a pinch, no pun intended, put a 21-inch tire or tube in the 18-inch back tire if you had to. Just the 18s are heavy duty, like the back tires are heavy duty, so they do way more than what the 21s do. So if on a day trip, I'll just carry a 21, but on a long trip, I will usually carry both. I also carry a plug-in air pump. One thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut this off and actually replace it with an SAE plug. An SAE plug like this, because everything on my bike is SAE except for the 12-volt cigarette lighter. And on my bike, for whatever reason, that thing, it does not work very well. It's very finicky. You have to kind of move the connection around inside there, and it's just annoying. So the SAE plugs are pretty much standard on everything. So speaking of tire changing tools, another thing they do on the Honda Africa Twin, there is a little mini toolbox. If you own a Honda Africa Twin, you know that this is a complete pain in the nuts to get off of the bike. But inside here, I do carry some CO2 cartridges, some tire patches, and some little things like that, things that I hardly ever use because I have an air pump, but for some reason, if my air pump failed, I do have CO2 cartridges to back it up. Another thing I carry is a tow strap. This is a nice little tow strap. Got a little bag that comes with it. It's really heavy duty webbing nylon. It's got a flat end on one end, and on the opposite end it has a loop. And now you can loop this on the towing vehicle, the bike that's actually doing the towing, and that way you don't have to worry about it coming off. And on this end, you can wrap it around the middle of the handlebars or on the hand grip. And what you do is you basically wrap it a couple of times, you hold on to it, and in case there's an emergency where you need to like not be connected, let go, and it'll pull straight. So it's a very easy way, very safe way to tow somebody. If you've ever towed a motorcycle, you know it kind of sucks. It's super stressful, and it's not the easiest thing in the world. So making it as safe as possible is like the #1 priority, right? Besides just getting out of the woods or off the trail. Okay, so other than the tow strap, another thing I carry is this tire changing mat. And this is from Trailmaster. It is a really handy mat. Folds inside of itself. Put your tire on here to keep the bearings and stuff like that, the grease out of the dirt. That way you're not getting dirt inside your axle. And then you have a little pocket here to throw, you know, your valve stems and all that in there. That way you don't lose any of that stuff. It's also really good for standing on to change your clothes when you get out of your tent. That way you don't get crap all over your socks. We'll throw that out the way. Another important tool, a Gerber. So I've had many Gerbers in my day, but I really like this one because it's got a couple of things on it that other Gerbers don't have. One, it's got wire cutters, which is super handy. It's got your standard, you know, scissors, your file, and all that. And I would highly suggest if you do carry a Gerber, make sure that you do carry one that has a file. But one thing I like even more about it is that this particular one, if I can get it out here, has a hacksaw, like a diamond hacksaw blade on it. I have used this multiple times on long trips in these situations where you never would think that you would need one. And the cool thing about it is that the blade is replaceable, so if it does eventually wear out, you can replace it. But this Gerber has been well used and is still in great shape, and I would highly suggest carrying a Gerber like this or a multi-tool like this as part of your toolkit. So that pretty much covers all the tools I carry on a daily basis on the motorcycle. For really long trips where I'm going to be gone for a couple of weeks or even 1 week, what I like to do is now I'm trying to get away. If you've seen my bike, you know that I carry this Roto Packs on the back of my bike. This is super nice because I get to carry a lot of tools and safety equipment in here. The downside is it sits up at pretty much the highest point on the bike. So I'm actually trying to get away from this, but the fact that it's so convenient has been really hard to find something that works just as well. But let's bring this over to the bench and I'll show you what all I carry in here. Okay, so like I said, I don't carry this every single time. This is like basically my emergency kit and my extra tools to make life easier when out in the backcountry away from, civilization. So in this kit, I will carry some 550 cord. It's kind of a mess because everything's kind of been moved around in there. I will normally carry this kit inside here as well. That way all this stuff doesn't all move around, just to kind of give you some perspective. But I carry an additional Leatherman that's got a couple of other things on it. It's got a fire starter, some other little attachments on it that the other one doesn't have that aren't as important. But like I said, in case of emergency, it's nice to have two. I carry some chain lube. I carry a chain tensioner. The one thing about having, a motorcycle that has a chain other than a shaft jibe is that you do have to make chain adjustments on your long trips because they do start to get too much slack on them, especially when you're doing some hardcore off-road stuff. Another thing I carry is a little kind of a T-handle swivel ratchet type tool. You get the drift, right? I carry a bead breaker. This can make life easier when changing a tire. And another thing I carry that I have gotten a lot of crap over is this Baja No Pinch. If you've ever used a Baja No Pinch, or if you've ever seen this tool and you've been skeptical about does it work, putting a adventure motorcycle back tire on the side of the road or the side of the trail can be a complete pain, especially if the weather's a little cooler and the rubber's stiff. So this thing makes life way easier. And I can do a whole nother video on this Baja No Pinch if you guys like. Let me know in the comments below. But it makes life. I can change a tire on and off the bike within about 10 minutes with this tool. It's pretty amazing. Again, let me know in the comments down below if you want to know more about that tool. Another thing that I carry that is pretty important is a steel stick or JB weld. It's got 2 sticks inside there. You mash them together and it creates a hard bond where if you were to bust a side cover or put a hole in your skid plate, which won't happen if you have the Outback Motortek skid plate, but just if it were to happen, or on your buddy's bike who didn't have an Outback, then this comes this comes in handy big time. So I carry an additional Allen key with multiple Allen heads on it for things that I wouldn't normally need, but just in case. And then I carry the Gold Bond. This is not only good for your butt on long trips, but it's really good for putting on a tire when changing it. It creates a friction barrier so your tube doesn't get hot inside your tire. If you have a tubeless tire, you don't have to worry about any of this stuff. You can just plug it. But if you were to cut a sidewall, then you would have to put a tube inside there in case in an emergency, and then then you would be up a creek if you didn't have a tube. So another thing I carry here is these really heavy 200-pound plus zip ties. These are super handy if your pannier were to fall off and break off and you needed to attach it. Tons of uses for this. They're even really good for smushing tires down when you're trying to install a tire if you have one that's not cooperating. And the last thing I carry that I've gotten a lot of crap over, but I promise you it works, is these Aluma weld sticks. So this is a pin torch. You basically turn it on. I don't know if you can hear it. You can hear that in the video or not. It's got butane inside of it. You light it, it's a little torch, and then these are little aluminum welding sticks. And with these, you can actually, on the side of the road or the side of the trail, you can weld up a case and get you to the next town or whatever you need to do to get by. I've done this on dirt bikes, but I've never had to do it on my big adventure bike. But I tell you, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen to me because I have horrible luck when it comes to this kind of stuff. So I always carry that stuff just to make sure that I have, the things I need in case of emergency. And to be real honest with you, this stuff, all said and done, when you load it all in there, it's only about 10 pounds. So I know that might seem like a lot, but if 10 extra pounds gets me home or doesn't ruin my trip when I'm on a 14-day trip, and I can keep going to complete the mission, then I'm totally fine with carrying an extra 10 pounds. Like I said, it does kind of suck being up high. I honestly don't notice the difference, but I'm sure it does make a difference having it up high. The last couple of things I don't carry all the time, but again, on a really long trip, having a backup jump box is nice to have, because if you need to jump your motorcycle, if the battery dies, having something small and light like this is nice to jump your bike. I got this from Costco. It was maybe $30. The cool thing about it too is if you need to charge any devices, you can charge your phone, or you can charge your cameras or whatever you need to charge on it. It makes it super easy to get your bike up and going again. Now, the last thing I will show you guys that is going to probably get some flack here, but I carry this Best Rest Products motorcycle recovery system. Brett Task did a video a while back on carrying a winch, and that is an excellent idea if you're on a 500-pound plus motorcycle, especially if you're by yourself and you need to do recovery. A winch is great. The problem is that winch is no longer made, and if you try to find that winch on eBay, there's people that are gouging the price on it, and you will pay up to $600 or more for a used winch. So besides that, what you can do is go to bestdressedproducts.com and pick up one of these motorcycle recovery systems. Now what this is I won't get it all out right now, and I will do a whole nother video on this product, but it's got some climbing rope in it, it's got some pulleys, it's got some soft ties, and you basically use a 2-to-1 or a 5-to-1, I believe, system to basically Z-drag your 500-pound motorcycle wherever you need to get it. Yeah, this is the 5-to-1 heavy-duty system, and it has, you know, if you're not familiar with that, it's got directions to set it all up and everything, but I will do a video on this. I've actually never had to use this, but I will tell you there was one time, and if you've seen the video last year, I believe, where I got my bike off the trail, and it was barely off the trail, but I'll tell you, it's almost impossible to get a 500-pound motorcycle up a shaly side hill. So what I ended up having to do is, luckily there was a creek down below. I was able to go down and cross the creek, but if that creek would have been any deeper, I would have been screwed. So I will do a video on how to use this recovery system. Can be literally like a lifesaver with the motorcycle if you are stuck somewhere, especially if you're by yourself. But even if you're not by yourself, 2 people trying to get a 500-pound motorcycle down a ravine or up a ravine is damn near impossible. So I know a lot of you guys will probably say, well, don't ride a 500-pound bike, but adventure riders, this is what we do. So it's nice to have the tools that would help in these situations. Hey guys, thanks so much for checking out this video. I know this was kind of a down and dirty version of what tools I carry. If you have any questions, definitely leave me in the comments below. I love answering your questions and communicating with you guys. If you have any questions about the beer I'm drinking, I will definitely give you the insight on that as well. But thanks again so much for watching. If you like these videos, hit that subscribe button, as well as give me a thumbs up. And if you have any suggestions on what gear I can review or anything that you're curious on, definitely let me know in the comments below. I'm gonna try to start doing these once a week. So if that's something that you're interested in, hit that subscribe button and make sure and hit that bell icon. Again, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. All right, guys, real quick, kind of a shameless plug here, but everything that you've seen in this video today is going to be down in the descriptions below. Those are Amazon affiliate links. If you're interested in any of these products and you're going to purchase them anyway, please purchase them through the Amazon affiliate link. We don't get much off of that, but we do get a little bit to help support the channel and keep producing these videos for you guys. So it's greatly appreciated. If you like any of this stuff in this video, definitely click the link down below. Thanks a lot.